Somewhere in Florida, there's a town where you can still buy a lakefront home without selling your grandkids' inheritance. Where the loudest thing you'll hear at night is a frog orchestra, and maybe your neighbor's golf cart humming home from trivia night. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't Florida run out of affordable, livable places like 10 years ago? That's what the headlines say, but headlines miss things. Big things. Like the quiet little towns hiding behind the palm trees and retirement billboards, the ones with low crime, solid health care, no state income tax, and enough character to make you forget Tampa even exists. While everyone else is piling into Naples, Sarasota, and the villages like it's senior spring break, we went exploring. We found the overlooked corners, the lake towns, the solar cities, and the coastal hideaways where life still moves slow enough to taste. And trust me, you've probably never heard of half of them, so grab your iced tea, adjust your sun hat, and get ready. Because these aren't the postcard Floridas. These are the hidden sanctuaries. The weird, the wonderful, the peaceful, and the perfectly affordable. By the end of this video, you'll be saying, why didn't I know about this sooner? If you like discovering the places nobody talks about, hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden gem explorations, and drop a comment telling me which one you'd actually live in. Alright, let's pack up the golf clubs, grab a map, and start with number 1. Inverness, Florida. Tucked away in Florida's nature coast, Inverness offers tablet quiet mornings by the water and a cost of living that doesn't scream sunset budget blowout. Tucked amidst the gentle curves of the nature coast and surrounded by shimmering lakes and citrus trees, Inverness feels like the kind of place where you might accidentally wander into a hammock-induced nap. Located in Citrus County, Florida, the town's population hovers around just 7,600 as of 2023, with a median age of about 56, which tells you right away, yes, retirees are well in the majority here. What makes Inverness work for retirement? It hits a mellow sweet spot between affordability, amenity access, and that sunset without traffic jam vibe. The median property value clocks in around $168,100 in 2023, and the cost of living index is approximately 0.9x the national average. So, while it's not dirt cheap, it's comfortably lower than many coastal hotspots. Of course, the presence of lakes means things like kayaking, fishing, or just sitting lakeside with a coffee become regular day rituals. Add in the nature trails around parks like Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park or the nearby Withlacoochee State Forest, and you've got plenty of green space to roam. The healthcare access is decent. Citrus County is served by a full hospital system. And Florida's beloved no state income tax rule means your retirement income might stretch farther. On the flip side, you do want to check local property insurance costs, as with most Florida spots, and consider how quiet you actually want your life to be. Inverness is no nightlife mecca, but for many that's exactly the charm. If you're after a retirement spot where fishing rods and books on the porch time come standard, and where your biggest commute may be across town for brunch on the lake, Inverness is a quietly solid choice. Sebring, Florida. In Sebring, you don't just retire, you tee off, paddle out, and stroll the historic Circle Drive downtown without battling hordes of tourists. Known as the City on the Circle, Sebring is the kind of place where your afternoon plans alternate between a round of golf and a quiet lakeside picnic. It sits right in the heart of Highlands County, literally the center of Florida, which means no coastal hurricanes, less humidity than the southern regions, and housing prices that still make your accountant smile. Here, the median home value hovers around $235,000, nearly 40% lower than Florida's state average. Rent, about more than $100 for a one-bedroom with a decent lake view. Crime rates, roughly 13% below the national average, and the cost of living is 10 to 12% cheaper than most of the US translation. More budget left for fishing rods, brunches, or that extra bucket of golf balls you swear you won't lose this time. Sebring's charm lies in its rhythm. The mornings start with egrets skimming over Lake Jackson, and retirees chatting over $2 diner coffee. By afternoon, you might catch the hum of engines from the Sebring International Raceway, home to the iconic 12 Hours of Sebring. Sure, it's loud, but somehow it fits. The roar of nostalgia mixed with horsepower. And when the sun dips low, the lake reflects shades of gold and mauve. The breeze softens and the whole town seems to exhale. No chaos, no rush, just the steady comfort of a life unhurried. Sebring isn't flashy, but it's quietly perfect for anyone ready to trade noise for nuance. Nalcrest, Florida. Yes, it was built for letter carriers, but Nalcrest quietly ticks many boxes for anyone after a peace and privacy phase. Hidden in the heart of Polk County, this tiny town sits between Lake Wales and Yeehaw Junction. Yes, that's a real place, and seems to exist in its own tranquil bubble. Nalcrest is one of those rare communities where nothing feels rushed. The streets are immaculate, traffic is non-existent, and gossip travels slower than the mail once did. Originally created in the 1960s by the National Association of Letter Carriers, the town's name literally stands for National Association of Letter Carriers Retirement, Education, Security, and Training. Today, even non-postal retirees are finding their way here, drawn by rents that hover around $900 a month and a sense of orderliness that would make Marie Kondo weep with joy. Life in Nalcrest moves at postcard speed. Residents fish from the lake, play shuffleboard in the afternoons, and gather for community cookouts as the sun dips below the palms. The architecture is simple, pastel, and perfectly mid-century, like time stopped in 1965 and politely decided not to start again. There's no nightlife, no chain restaurants, and no barking dogs. The silence is so complete you can hear the breeze slide across the water. Every evening, porch lights flicker on in unison. You sit outside, lemonade in hand, listening to the crickets and the faint sound of someone flipping through a crossword. Nalcrest isn't just quiet, it's contentment, postmarked and delivered. Sebastian, Florida. On the Treasure Coast near the Indian River Lagoon, Sebastian gives you surf, shelling, and serene retirement without the mega crowds. It's the kind of coastal town where you can still find a parking spot at the beach and a cup of coffee that doesn't require a QR code to order. With a population hovering around 26,000, Sebastian feels like old Florida before developers started naming everything after sea creatures and adjectives. The median home price sits comfortably around $350,000, and the crime rate is notably lower than the state average. You're close enough to Vero Beach for top-tier medical care, but far enough that your neighbor's idea of noise pollution is the sound of pelicans dive-bombing the lagoon. Everything here moves to a rhythm dictated by tides, not traffic lights. Sebastian's claim to fame is the Sebastian Inlet, a legendary fishing and surfing spot that's somehow both lively and peaceful at once. You'll find retirees walking the jetty at sunrise, bait buckets in hand, while a few locals chase waves they've been riding since the 70s. The town also embraces its quirky side. There's an annual clam bake that turns into a small-town festival, and a riverfront park that doubles as a front-row seat to some of the most cinematic sunsets in the state. Evenings in Sebastian are slow and golden. The salt air softens everything, and the lagoon glows like glass. You exhale, realizing this isn't just another beach town. It's the calm between Florida's storms. Ocala, Florida. Move inland to Ocala, and you'll trade high-rise traffic for horse farms, state parks, and a surprisingly active retiree scene. Known as the horse capital of the world, Ocala has more stables than Starbucks. And that's saying something for Florida. It's a place where oak canopies drape over winding country roads, Spanish moss sways like curtains, and mornings begin with the sound of hooves rather than horns. Here, life is beautifully unhurried. The median home price sits around $280,000, well below Florida's coastal averages, and the cost of living stays a comfortable 8 to 10% under the national mark. With over 600 horse farms, countless golf courses, and easy access to the crystal-clear springs of Silver Spring State Park, Ocala somehow manages to be both rural and refined. The downtown square is small but charming. Boutiques, cafes, and farmers markets where everyone seems to know each other's names. Healthcare is strong for a mid-sized city, anchored by Advent Health and HCA Florida facilities. And while there's no beach, the rolling green pastures and freshwater springs more than make up for it. Kayakers, hikers, and equestrians all share the same playground. Evenings here feel cinematic, the sky turns amber, cicadas hum, and the world seems to slow to the same pace as the horses grazing in the distance. Ocala isn't just for the horse-obsessed, it's for anyone who wants space to breathe, a backyard that opens to nature, and a version of Florida that still remembers how to be quiet. Brooksville, Florida. Just far enough from big city bustle, Brooksville offers retirees gentle living, good healthcare access, and budget-friendly housing. It's tucked in Hernando County, about 50 miles north of Tampa, where the rolling hills start to replace the endless flatlands Florida is infamous for. Yes, you read that right. Brooksville actually has hills, real ones, and they're covered in live oaks, old Victorian homes, and the kind of southern charm that makes you want to start drinking sweet tea, unironically. The median home price floats around $270,000, and the cost of living hovers about 10% below the state average. Crime. Noticeably lower than Florida's coastal cities. The town feels old-fashioned in the best way. A walkable downtown square filled with antique shops, mom-and-pop diners, and a clock tower that looks straight out of a Hallmark movie. For retirees, Brooksville's real appeal is balance. You get peace and quiet, but Tampa's top-tier hospitals, entertainment, and international airport are only about an hour away. Outdoor lovers can kayak on the Weeki Wachee River, bike along the Withlacoochee State Trail, or just sit on a porch watching the sun dip behind moss-covered oaks. Locals say Brooksville's traffic lights change slower here, but no one seems to mind. The air smells like orange blossoms, the neighbors wave, and time feels less like something you chase, and more like something that walks beside you. If small-town comfort with city convenience sounds like your rhythm, Brooksville might just be the encore you've been waiting for. The Villages, Florida. We know it's famous, but for many retirees it still functions like a sanctuary. Golf carts, pickleball, swimming pools, and no state income tax. Sure, the Villages has a reputation, somewhere between Disneyland for adults and Stepford with margaritas. But beneath the jokes and headlines lies one of the most efficient, livable retirement ecosystems in the country. Spread across 3 counties in Central Florida, it's a masterclass in community design where everything, from healthcare to happy hour, is within a golf cart ride. The median home price sits around $400,000, but the range is wide, with plenty of affordable villas alongside luxury estates. Violent crime rates remain well below the national average, and the cost of living lands just a hair above Florida's average, which is impressive considering you get built-in entertainment, recreation, and medical facilities designed specifically for retirees. Here the social calendar is relentless, in a good way. Over 3,000 clubs, 50-plus golf courses, and nightly live music in the downtown squares. You can line dance on Tuesday, join an astronomy group Wednesday, and debate your neighbor about the best golf cart color Thursday. Healthcare is top-notch too, with multiple dedicated clinics and partnerships with leading hospital systems. Evenings in the Villages hum with laughter, tiki torches, and the distant whir of golf carts heading home under palm-lined streets. It's not just a retirement community, it's a self-contained small city where the hardest decision you'll make all week is whether to play 9 holes or go for a sunset cocktail. Babcock Ranch, Florida. Imagine a community where the roof panels, bike trails, and preservation land all feel purposeful. Welcome to Babcock Ranch. This isn't just a retirement town, it's the first fully solar-powered city in America, a futuristic oasis sitting just northeast of Fort Myers that somehow manages to feel both high-tech and homey. Designed with sustainability in mind, the entire community runs on an 870-acre solar field, with smart homes, autonomous shuttles, and streets that seem allergic to noise. The median home price hovers near $475,000, but you're paying for innovation, not excess. Utility costs are significantly lower than neighboring areas, and the crime rate is a fraction of the state average. There's fiber optic internet in every home, walkable trails that wind through natural preserves, and a town square where farmers markets meet electric bike stations. For retirees, Babcock Ranch is a glimpse of the future that somehow keeps all the good parts of small-town living. You'll find kids biking to school, neighbors trading herbs from their gardens, and retirees chatting about the latest solar output like it's baseball stats. Healthcare access is strong too, with clinics and major hospitals within a short drive in Punta Gorda and Fort Myers. By dusk, the solar streetlights flicker on, the air hums with crickets, and the reflection of the panels gleams gold. It's peaceful, forward-thinking, and almost poetic. Proof that retirement doesn't have to mean slowing down. Sometimes it just means plugging into a brighter kind of quiet. Leesburg, Florida. Just 45 miles northwest of Orlando, Leesburg is fast becoming a retirement favorite, thanks to its lakes, low crime, and surprisingly affordable housing. This is Central Florida's best example of small-town charm meeting big opportunity, where retirees swap coastal chaos for calm, freshwater views without sacrificing access to city conveniences. With Lake Harris and Lake Griffin bordering the town, there's always a breeze in the air and a dock somewhere calling your name. The median home price lands around $290,000, comfortably below the state average, and the cost of living stays about 9% lower than Florida's urban hubs. Leesburg's crime rate is significantly below the national average, and the local hospitals, including UF Health Leesburg, are consistently ranked among Florida's best for senior care. It's no wonder more retirees are skipping the pricey coasts and planting roots here instead. Downtown Leesburg feels delightfully vintage. Restored brick buildings, boutique shops, and cozy cafes that double as social hubs. The community calendar is packed too. Weekly farmers markets, lake festivals, and evening jazz shows in the town square. The traffic? Barely noticeable. The sunsets? Borderline unfair. Evenings here carry that perfect Florida rhythm. Warm air, cicadas humming, and the reflection of streetlights dancing on the water. It's peaceful but not dull, affordable but not forgotten. Leesburg feels like Florida's best compromise. Part lakeside escape, part growing town, and entirely what retirement was supposed to look like before everyone started chasing the ocean. On Florida's Gulf Coast, Dunedin delivers beach breezes, Scottish heritage charm, and fewer crowds. Perfect for a relaxed retirement pace. Just north of Clearwater, this seaside town feels like Florida's best-kept coastal secret, where pastel cottages line brick-paved streets and everyone seems to know the bartender by name. The town's motto might as well be, slow down, stay a while. And trust me, it's impossible not to. The median home price sits around $430,000, higher than some inland towns, but still a bargain for its proximity to water, and far quieter than its tourist-heavy neighbors. The crime rate is about 35% lower than the national average, and the cost of living stays manageable thanks to no state income tax and a walkable downtown that minimizes car dependence. Dunedin's healthcare access is also strong, with several major hospitals within 15 minutes. But what makes Dunedin truly special isn't on paper. It's in the energy, the subtle mix of coastal calm and creative flair. There's a weekly farmers market, art walks, and the annual Highland Games that proudly nod to its Scottish roots. Locals bike the Pinellas Trail to the beach, grab coffee by the marina, and end the day watching the sunset from Honeymoon Island State Park, one of the most underrated shorelines in Florida. By twilight, the air smells faintly of salt and orange blossom. The pubs glow softly, laughter spills into the streets, and the waves roll in like a lullaby. Dunedin doesn't just feel like retirement. It feels like coming home. And there you have it, 10 corners of Florida that quietly redefine what retirement can look like. No crowds, no chaos, no overpriced oceanfronts fighting for your attention. Just communities built for comfort, connection, and the kind of peace that doesn't need to be advertised. From Inverness's lakeside calm to Dunedin's soft coastal glow, each town offers its own flavor of Florida living, proof that paradise isn't always loud or famous. Sometimes it's tucked behind the palm trees, waiting for someone curious enough to find it. If one of these places caught your eye, or if you've got a hidden gem of your own that deserves the spotlight, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know which town you'd pick to spend your golden hours. And hey, if you enjoyed this little journey through Florida's underrated sanctuaries, give this video a like, subscribe for more calm curiosities, and share it with that one friend who's been thinking about moving south for years. Until next time, may your sunsets be warm, your neighbors kind, and your mornings just quiet enough to hear the sound of peace settling in.